The letter shook in my hands. Black ink, plain paper, and still it landed like a blow I didn't see coming. My own lawyer's handwriting didn't soften the blow. Per the court's decision, Ms. Elena Marlowe retains partial access rights to the lakeside structure. Structure. That's what they called my cabin now. The one good thing I had left. The one thing I rebuilt with my own hands after Elena left me for Brent and started playing house down in Raleigh. Quick note, before we continue, tell us in the comments where in the world you're tuning in from. Now, back to the story. My name's Graham, I'm 43, live just outside Asheville, North Carolina, and apparently, I don't even have full rights to my own cabin. I gripped the letter tighter, fingers whitening. The judge's words kept replaying in my head like a bad country song I couldn't turn off. Shared asset, equitable access, therapeutic familiarity, whatever that even meant. It wasn't her garden. She never once helped plant those boxwoods. My phone buzzed. I picked it up without thinking. We'll be using the cabin next weekend, Elena said, like she was inviting herself over for coffee. Brent's excited. Oh, and Maya's coming too. I blinked. Maya? Our daughter now, Graham. The adoption finalized in March. I stared at the wall, blood roaring in my ears. That's news, I said, jaw locking. We're finally a real family, the kind you never wanted to give me, she added, sweet like poison. Then she hung up. I grabbed my coat and keys without thinking. I needed to see the cabin, see it before they turned it into the backdrop of their next perfect family Christmas card. The drive up was all muscle memory, sharp curves through pine stands, the lake flashing in and out between the trees. My tires crunched the gravel as I pulled in, and there it was. My work. New windows I'd installed last spring. Deck I'd rebuilt after the storm. Raised beds I tried to keep alive, even when everything else was falling apart. Tyler's red pickup pulled in behind mine. He stepped out, took one look at my face. How bad, man? Every other weekend and holidays, I muttered. She's bringing Brent and Maya. He shook his head. After everything you put into this place? He doesn't even want it, I snapped, pacing the deck. He just wants to prove he can make me watch. Tyler glanced toward the clearing beyond the back slope. Court said she can use the structure, right? Not 5 acres. I stopped. Go on? You've got land. Use it. Nothing in that order says you can't. A spark lit in my chest. You thinking what I'm thinking? I asked. Tyler grinned. You bet. Workshops, mentorship, ball field. A place for guys and boys who don't have one. I looked out at the space, open, visible from every window of the cabin. It'll take money. I know folks who'd help, he said, and a reporter, Karina Delgado. She lives for stories like this. My phone buzzed again. Elena, BTW, we're taking pro photos at the cabin next month for Brent's socials. Hope that's okay. Tyler laughed once. Time has a long memory. I exhaled and cracked a smile for the first time that day. Maybe we give her a little help. Tyler shoved the last folded map aside, so hard my salt shaker tipped. County records, zoning overlays, soil permits. He had it all. My kitchen looked like the inside of a planning commission truck. He jabbed his finger at one line. Here, court order only gives her access to the structure and a 50-foot bubble. You still own 4.8 acres outside that. I leaned over the table, tracing the shape of my land. That chunk along the west ridge, that was open, flat enough to build, close enough to be seen from every cabin window. Plenty of room, I said. More than enough. Tyler looked up. So, first step, what's first? I asked, trying to stay level, like my whole brain wasn't racing. He grinned and spun his laptop around. Already lined up. Karina's meeting us at Bucktail Diner in 20 minutes. I stared at the screen. Today? Best time is when your blood's still hot, he said, grabbing his coat. Come on. We slid into a booth just before the lunch rush. Karina Delgado was already there, tablet open, phone flipped over, but blinking with messages. She had that look reporters get, half smile, full focus. All right, she said, clicking her pen. Show me what lit the fuse. I handed over my phone with Elena's text, the one about the photo shoot, Brent's vision, the perfect little memory factory. Karina read it, eyebrows going up. That's the hook, but what's the heart? A trades and mentorship yard, I said. Wood shop, small engine repair, ball field, basic finance classes. We're building something real. For who? Single dads, boys falling through the cracks, I said. The kind of kids who don't get camp. The kind of men who never had a dad show them how to hold a wrench without stripping a bolt. She leaned forward, writing fast. Good. Make it about purpose, not revenge. Let the audience connect the dots. Karina already knew two small contractors, sisters who ran a framing crew and a retired guy with a backhoe who'd pitch in for exposure. My phone buzzed again. Maya. A photo of her in some stiff corporate blazer, arms crossed, fake smile. Karina gave me your number. Hope that's okay. Dad's making me intern. I hate it. I passed the phone to Tyler. That hit me harder than I thought it would. Add youth paths, Karina said. Design, video, web, something they can use now. We grabbed napkins and sketched out tracks, safe tool use, Saturday leagues, resume writing, a little scholarship fund if we could swing it. How fast can you move? Karina asked. Fast, I said. I want concrete poured before they show up with their camera crew. She nodded once. Then we make that slab the headline. Front and center. Can't crop it out. I followed Morales down the hallway, past rows of frosted windows and framed county seals. His office looked exactly like I remembered. Wood paneling, state flag in the corner, shelves stacked with old law books no one touched anymore. Sit, he said, motioning toward the leather chair across from his desk. Let's see this plan of yours. I passed him the folder. He didn't rush, just read slowly, one page at a time, nodding now and then, like he was checking boxes in his head. The coffee on his desk smelled like it came from the bottom of a burnt pot. Where's the site? He asked, not looking up. Northwest end of my cabin lot, I said, just outside the shared 50-foot zone. He leaned back slightly. Smart placement. Keeps you on solid ground, legally and otherwise. He reached into a drawer and pulled out a county brochure, sliding it across the desk like a poker chip. Centers that serve youth or small business education can qualify for fast-track permits. Tax breaks, too. You hit both. I nodded, holding back the grin. That sounds like something we'll take full advantage of. Morales tapped a specific clause in the county code. You'll want to highlight this if they push back. When land provides a public benefit, no shared party can reasonably obstruct access. That includes the cabin's occupants. My phone buzzed. Tyler again. He'd sent a photo of fresh lumber stacked 6 feet high and a bright yellow laser level humming on a tripod. Looked like Christmas morning out there. A knock at the door made Morales glance toward the hallway. His secretary poked her head in. Next appointment's here, sir. He gave me a long look. Use the back hall, he said, dropping his voice. No sense stirring it up if you don't have to. I stood and offered my hand. Appreciate the clarity and the path forward. He shook it firmly. Don't waste it, Graham. Projects like this don't come around often. Make it count. I slipped through the side stairwell, steps quick but quiet. Just as I reached the lobby's edge, I spotted Elena. She was walking in from the parking lot, manila folder hugged tight to her chest like a life vest. I didn't slow down. By the time I got back to the site, the place was already humming. Tyler was directing 2 guys unloading the lumber. Karina was interviewing a retired shop teacher who'd shown up with blueprints from the 80s and a grin like a kid at a fair. Tyler turned when he saw me. How'd it go? Better than I hoped, I said, walking past him toward the layout stakes. We're not just legal, we're invited. Karina lifted her mic with a smirk. Say that again on camera. Karina backed up, getting the frame just right as Tyler drove the first stake into the ground. I held the string taut, while 2 volunteers measured out the rest of the build zone. Every line we laid felt like a clean break from what used to be. Something new, something real. The first crew showed just after 8, a pair of sisters in steel-toe boots and work belts heavier than mine. They ran framing like a military op, efficient and fast. An hour later, the concrete team rolled in. A dad with deep laugh lines and his teenage son unloading the rebar like they'd done it 100 times. We'd pulled a 60-day temporary activities permit midweek, printed waivers, posted signs, and lined up deliveries to come in staggered across 2 weekends. Nothing flashy, nothing sloppy. Just straight-up planning. Tyler kept it tight, and the crews respected that. Karina clipped a lav mic to my collar and adjusted the transmitter. Talk natural, she said. Forget the cameras there. A few neighbors wandered over. curious at first, then sticking around to carry boards or ask where they could sign up. Some brought old tools from their sheds, still dusty, but solid. I told them we'd put every one of them to use. Tyler looked up from the plan sheets. "You still good with keeping it open yard?" "Work days only," I said. "Locked up tight after hours. Safety's non-negotiable." A blue sedan eased into the gravel, slow and careful. Maya stepped out, hugging her backpack like it was armor. She scanned the crowd like she wasn't sure if she was allowed to exist here. "Told Mom I was going to a study group," she said. "Is this really open to teens?" "Yeah," I said, handing her a copy of the schedule. "Tracks for design, media, and hands-on builds. You pick what matters to you." Her shoulders dropped a little. "I want graphic design, not courtrooms, not Brent's fake office life." Tyler stepped in. "We've got a volunteer pro coming in next week. You'd work on real jobs for real shops." Her phone pinged. She glanced at it, then sighed. "They're looking for me." "You don't need permission to come here," I said. "You're always welcome." She gave a small nod and headed back to the car. Karina leaned in close and said just loud enough for me to hear, "This story just found its heart." My phone vibrated. Email from Elena's lawyer asking for clarification on the development's exact boundary lines. I turned to Tyler, watching the post holes go in. "Let them ask," I said. "We'll just keep answering with good work." Karina's headline ran big and bold across the front page of the Pine County Register. "Local Dad Turns Divorce into Community Build." I didn't ask for that title, but I wasn't mad about it either. People came out in numbers I didn't expect. Dads dragging folding chairs, moms handing out sunscreen, teenagers with earbuds still in, but curious. A few older guys who looked like they hadn't swung a hammer in years shook my hand and asked where they could help. The two buildings stood proud. The workshop, bright tools hung on pegboards like candy, and the classroom, plain but real, with mismatched chairs, scuffed-up tables, and a whiteboard already full of names. Off in the background, the cabin looked smaller than it ever had. Elena pulled up in that dark SUV, Brent at the wheel, both of them stepping out like they were showing up to a property dispute, not a celebration. Maya stayed back near the car, arms folded but smiling just enough to let me know she was on my side. Elena's heels hit gravel like gunshots. "What is this?" she snapped, waving the wrinkled newspaper. "You turned my cabin into a camp?" I didn't flinch. "Your cabin's 50 yards that way. This is mine." Brent stepped forward with his fake smooth voice. "We had plans for family time. You've turned this whole place into noise." Tyler stood nearby, arms crossed, watching a dad show his kid how to plane a board smooth. "We're doing something for families," he said. "Some just don't know it yet." Karina came in like she'd rehearsed the moment. She raised her mic, recorder in full view. "Would either of you like to comment on opposing local development aimed at youth support?" That did it. People stopped, turned, waited. Elena looked around, realizing they weren't looking at me. They were looking at her. Maya stepped forward, calm and clear. "They're offering design classes, not busy work, not coffee runs at Brent's firm." Elena's mouth tightened. "Get in the car, now." "I signed up," Maya said, holding up the form. "I'm 16. You don't control this." A couple of local sponsors came over, smiling, polite but firm. One shook Elena's hand and said, "Your ex gave this town something we needed. Glad you were part of the story." Elena's face flushed hard. She turned red, then pale, then something in between. "We're not done here," she said, voice clipped. I looked her straight in the eye. "No, we're moving forward." The sign-up sheets were full before noon. By the time we stapled the last page to the corkboard, we already had a wait list. Someone brought donuts and a folding table. A teenager set up a Bluetooth speaker. The air smelled like sawdust and coffee, and something that felt like momentum. A regional bank manager pulled up in a sedan with tinted windows. He shook my hand, handed me a flyer for microgrants, and said, "We like to support things that actually change outcomes." 10 minutes later, the local hardware store's delivery truck dropped off a full pallet of safety goggles, gloves, and hearing protection. No invoice. My phone buzzed. "Elena, we'll be filing about the nuisance. Expect paperwork." I passed the message to Tyler without even reacting. He handed me a drill and smirked. "Let them. We've got the judge's ruling and half the town on our side." Brent was pacing around the cabin porch, fake laughing with anyone who came near. He had balloons tied to the railing, a cooler of drinks, and a DJ playing something toothless and polished. But most of the guests drifted over to us. They followed the smoke from the barrel grill and the sound of nail guns and real conversation. A black SUV parked near the back edge of the gravel lot. A man in a navy jacket stepped out, badge on his belt. Lieutenant Governor's regional office. He asked for a tour, shook hands, ignored Brent's wave entirely. Deputy Ruiz arrived just behind him. Slow walk, no rush. Eyes scanning, but calm. Just being visible. Just in case. Tyler clapped his hands. All right, folks, everyone, take your seats. Time for mentor intros and student showcases. The crowd shifted. Brent saw the attention moving away and jumped on his DJ's mic. Feedback howled. People flinched. Ruiz moved in, smooth, just long enough to stand between the speaker and the aisle. Brent backed off fast. Tyler lifted our mic, voice cutting clean across the yard. Let's celebrate what these students built with their own hands. Week 1, day 1. Applause rose fast and clean, carrying across the yard. Maya stepped up, holding a poster board with clean logo drafts for a local landscaper. Her voice didn't shake. She talked through her color choices, brand story, and mock-up process like she'd done it before. Elena stood off to the side, arms crossed, smile stiff and crooked. Karina caught the whole thing on camera. The angle widened just as Brent stormed off toward the cabin's empty deck. I stepped back from the crowd, listening to a kid explain how he finally sanded a board smooth without gouging it. He was beaming. "This is why," I said under my breath. "This right here." The clip of Brent grabbing the mic and getting shut down by Deputy Ruiz passed 2 million views by day 3. Karina's follow-up segment aired that night on regional news. The inbox on our site exploded. Other towns asking how they could start a yard of their own. It didn't take long for people online to start digging. Brent's firm got tagged in every comment thread. Separately, someone pulled Elena's old emails to a private surveyor, messages about repositioning boundary lines to make a permit fit. It looked like what it was, shady. The county ethics board opened an official review. Elena's name went quiet on everything. No comments, no texts, nothing. Then Maya messaged me late at night. Mom's furious. Brent's on leave. We're at a motel until things calm down. The next morning, around 10, I heard tires crunch over the gravel, slow and heavy. A gray SUV pulled in and stopped right in front of the workshop. Brent got out, sweat-stained collar, red eyes, and a folder in his hand. I smelled whiskey before he even reached me. "Happy now?" he said, voice low and slurred. "You ruined me." Tyler stepped between us like a wall. "Take it easy, Brent." Brent pushed past him and slammed the folder onto the workbench. "Cease and desist. You can't run a public circus on residential land." I opened it. Same threats we'd been warned about. He was bluffing. "We're permitted and within setbacks," I said. "You knew that before you parked here." Karina stood in the workshop doorway, camera already rolling. A few volunteers drifted closer, eyes quiet but alert. Another engine rumbled in. Elena's car. Maya was in the passenger seat, arms crossed tight, eyes red and raw. Elena stepped out and didn't hesitate. She walked straight toward us. "That's enough, Brent," she said. Her voice wasn't loud. It didn't have to be. He turned on her. "You want to talk about enough? You hid documents. You fed him permits." She looked straight at me, then at Karina's camera. "I'm filing for separation." Brent's shoulders dropped like the fight just left his body. "You can't do this to me," he said, half to her, half to the dirt under his feet. Ruiz stepped out from his cruiser at the edge of the lot, no rush. "Sir, you've been warned before. Leave now or it becomes trespassing." Brent looked around. Camera, volunteers, Ruiz. Then he walked back to his SUV, got in, and pulled away without another word. Behind him, the center kept humming. Hammers, voices, laughter, like he never mattered. Elena showed up around midday, alone this time. No blazer, no makeup, no sharp tone. Just hair pulled back and Maya's tablet in her hands. "She left this last week," she said, holding it out. "I figured she'd want it today." I took it, gave her a nod. "You can come in if you want." She hesitated, then stepped inside the classroom. The lights were on, volunteers moving with purpose. A young woman was teaching 3 kids how to check measurements on a drill press. Across the hall, 2 older guys were fixing a table leg like it was sacred. "No slogans?" Elena asked. "Just skills," I said. "We don't do speeches, we do work." She walked the space slow, not saying much. At the doorway she turned to me. "I owe you an apology," she said. "I saw spite, I didn't see help." I started to answer, but the front door burst open like someone had kicked it. Brent marched in, shirt wrinkled but tucked in, eyes sharp but wild. "You're turning my family against me." Elena didn't flinch. "Lower your voice." "This whole thing is fake," he snapped, "and this is still my property." A voice came from outside. "Not an inch of this is yours." County Permitting Director Chen stepped into view, ID clipped to her coat, clipboard in hand. "Your name's not on the parcel," she said, "nor the permits, and the county recognizes this facility as separate." From the loft stairs above us, Maya's voice rang out. "I present in 15 minutes. Brent turned, pointed up at her. "You're coming with me. We're fixing this at home." Maya came down the stairs, chin up, holding her black portfolio like armor. "I've got 3 clients waiting on logo approvals. You can leave." He snorted. "This isn't real work." Director Chen stepped forward, cool and even. "Business licenses say otherwise. This program is registered and active." Brent looked around like he just noticed the cameras, the quiet stares, the buzz of productivity around him. His mouth opened, closed, then nothing. He turned and walked out the door without another word. Elena let out a breath like she'd been holding it for a year. "He's done," she said. "The rest gets filed tomorrow morning." Maya turned to me, a little shaky but smiling. "You staying for my pitch?" I didn't even blink. Wouldn't miss it. And I meant every word. Brent's flyer went up first. Slick graphics, fake smile photos, and bold text. Family Lakeside Social, food, music, and memories. He scheduled it for the exact same day as our first official graduation. His team rolled in early with folding tables, silver chafing dishes, and hired photographers. A DJ tested sound on the porch, blasting music that didn't match the setting or the crowd. He was aiming for stage joy, curated shots, and one last swing at relevance. We had folding chairs from the school district, a podium Tyler bought from a thrift store, and permits stamped in thick blue ink posted by the main entrance. By 10, cars lined both drives, but the traffic flow didn't lie. People walked past the cabin and headed to us. The lieutenant governor stepped out of a state vehicle, shook my hand firmly, and said, "I've read everything. I want to talk expansion." She meant it. Brent's people tried redirecting guests, clipboard check-ins, signs pointing to official event entrance at the cabin porch. Didn't matter. The crowd followed the music from our students' playlist and the smell of grilled hot dogs drifting across the lot. Elena texted me while we were setting up the display tables. "Heads up. He's desperate." Tyler took the mic first, his voice riding the breeze clean across the space. "Thank you for being here to celebrate real work, real growth, and real second chances." Brent, watching from the porch, pulled out a stack of gift cards. He tried handing them off to the scheduled speakers, offering paid features on his stage if they'd switch. One of our mentors held up a card, waved it at the crowd, and said, "Bribery's not mentorship. I'm staying right here." Deputy Ruiz stood at the edge of the gathering, hands on his belt, still as stone. "Let's keep this on the right side of the law," he said, voice even, eyes on Brent. Then the graduates took the mic. An out-of-work lineman talked about launching his handyman business. A teenager showed off a skateboard deck he built and branded himself. 2 single dads shared how they were starting a lawn crew, together with help from our Saturday finance classes. Then Maya stepped up, confident. She presented a full rebrand for a local roofing company, mock-ups, messaging, even social media assets. She held up a signed letter of intent. Elena stood nearby, arms crossed, genuinely proud. The lieutenant governor led the ovation, and it spread fast, rising like a wave, loud enough to drown out the cabin's DJ. Brent just stood there, frozen, surrounded by empty chairs and untouched catering trays, while every camera caught the moment he lost the crowd. The county ethics board went public the next morning. They were expanding their investigation into Elena's boundary emails and Brent's attempt to use the porch event for promotional gain. His firm didn't waste time. They put him on unpaid leave before lunch. Karina's latest video, Maya's pitch followed by the lieutenant governor's standing ovation, blew up. By midday, it cleared 2.6 million views. Elena texted me late that night. We're at the lodge for a few days. He's drinking. I'm filing. The next afternoon, Brent showed up at my office. No press, no noise. Just him. Pale, dark circles under his eyes. A folder tucked under one arm. "You happy now?" he asked, flat. "I lost the job. House is next." I didn't blink. "You did that to yourself, but you can still stop making it worse." He placed the folder on my desk and pushed it toward me. "Separation papers. Includes a no-contact clause. You sign the notice that I stay off the yard and I don't risk violating anything." "Gladly," I said, grabbing a pen. "You leave. No scenes, no games." I signed it, slid it back across the desk. Then the door opened. Elena walked in with Maya beside her. Karina and Mr. Morales followed, quiet but firm. Nobody looked surprised. "I'm done, Brent," Elena said, calm. "The lawyer has the rest. Don't contact us unless it's what's written." Maya stepped forward, her voice steady. "I'm building something, whether you show up or not." Brent looked up at the photo wall, snapshots of teens sanding boards, old guys welding, kids grinning in oversized goggles. He didn't say anything for a beat. "I thought control was security," he muttered. "Guess it was just control." Morales nodded once. "You can still learn. Plenty of men do. Starts with listening." Brent took the folder, nodded without looking anyone in the eye, and walked out the door. After that, the yard found its rhythm. Power saws and morning coffee. Chalkboards full of project wins. Sign-up sheets that needed more pages every week. A logistics company funded our second shed. A grocery chain underwrote 5 scholarships. Karina's videos got us emails from 8 other towns, all asking for blueprints. We opened yard number 10 in an old warehouse 3 hours west. Maya cut the ribbon herself, holding a pair of shop scissors in one hand and her new logo in the other. Elena, now our project coordinator, moved like a machine. Clipboards, calendars, supply runs, quieter than she used to be, but easier in her own skin. Brent showed up at that launch in a plain suit. He stood off to the side, watching more than talking. Morales walked over and said, "Tuesday nights, men's group, you should come." Brent nodded. After the speeches, Maya waved me over. "Dad, my first invoices just hit 4 figures." I grinned. "Told you it'd happen?" The crowd started to thin. Tyler and I stood in the roll-up doorway, watching a boy show his little brother how to sand smooth, edge to edge. Looking back, I said, "I should have known this would work. I just needed the push." Tyler nudged me. "You took the hit and built something better. That's the trick." I looked toward our memory board, 1 photo of the cabin through the trees, and 100 of what we built around it. "Yeah," I said, "this is exactly where we're supposed to be." Quick question before we wrap. When someone tries to knock you down, do you build or break? Tap hype to boost this. Please subscribe and like, and drop a comment.